what was it like making all of this? Like producing it, getting the people to come together?
Yeah. Well, thank God for our Bollywood director, Mr. Ariman, in India. He's done a great job. I would just tell him, this is my ideas, and I want to interview these people. But I always, when we were kids, we would go to India every summer as kids, and I never
So cool.
saw. I wouldn't see animal cruelty then because I wasn't looking for it. But when I go, I see it. I see cows on the street, or I see these monkeys dancing. When we were kids, we thought, oh, that's so cool. Or, sheep and chickens. Like there'll be chickens on the street, and they just slaughter it right in front of you, fresh. But when you're young, you don't think of it. But this time, I was just like devastated. And we went to a dairy farm. Most were buffaloes. Now in India, black buffalo.
Wow.
In India, cow they have rights and they're protected, but not buffaloes. Buffaloes aren't at all. They will go to slaughter. Cows do go to slaughter, but that's happening illegally. Because cows are considered holy and sacred in India.
Yeah.
You're never supposed to kill a cow. But buffaloes don't have rights. Yeah.
That's so weird.
And well, the thing is,
I also have a reason why it might be weird, but keep going.
the deep meaning to that could be the black. This is also goes way back to, the untouchables were darker. The darker you are, there's a lot of prejudice in India too of that. At least it was a long time ago. So buffaloes being black color have no right. And so we're drinking a lot of buffalo milk in India, and cow's milk, and goat milk. So the buffaloes, they were chained. They had heavy chains. All they could do is sit and stand up.
Yeah.
That's it, sit and stand up. And I saw the rape rack there. And people think in India, cows are just making love and everything's fine, and we treat her like a mother in the backyard. Years ago, I got to take you guys back. Years ago, people had cows in their backyard and were treated like a family member. That's why we call her Gau Mata. We actually, because Lord Krishna, our God Lord Krishna, was a cow herder. And he loved his cows. He was so good to his cows. And our Lord Krishna said, never to harm the cow. That's why nobody eats beef in India. Most of them, like Hindus and Jains for sure. We don't eat beef. And people, always remembered that. It's in our Gita, in our scriptures. And so they would have a cow in the backyard. They kept her for all her life, loved her, treated her like a family member. But that's not going on now. Right. Everything has changed. It's all commercial, it's all greed, it's all money. So we're not having cows in the backyard. We're getting our milk from the industry or packet milks that get sent to the house. And this is from buffalo milk, cow milk, goat milk. And yes, they're using artificial insemination. Yes, they're taking drugs. Yes, it's very cruel.
And a point to the drug part of the milk and all the hormones and stuff, if you actually go and look at a chart and it's talking about female menstruation onset. So when a girl first gets her period.
That's right.
Pre-World War II, it was about the 16,
16, 17, yeah.
Now it's 12.
Yes. Because of all that estrogen, all that hormone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so post-industrial revolution, the creation of factory farming, the creation of, the artificial insemination, adding the hormones to make more milk production.
Right.
It's actually affecting us. And I think that I probably went through puberty early because I was drinking so much school carton milk growing up. And I'm like, oh my God. And like, that's probably the worst milk I could have been drinking.
And, even growing older men get boobs. They start to get this fat on their chest. Men are always supposed to be flat chested, and this is from all the dairy that they drink for all the years because of that female hormone, the estrogen. Also, prostate cancer is huge because of dairy, because of the bovine growth hormone. So a lot of dangers with dairy, health-wise. Yeah.
Do you see this? You said, like, for example, men are supposed to be flat chested. Do you feel like our society is even kind of morphing into something that it shouldn't be today? maybe it's like becoming amorphous, or we're losing touch with our natural selves?
I do. Yeah. Yeah.
I think Armin and I talk about this a lot. It seems like things are getting, and I want to say it like, well, but things are getting, I don't know, confused sometimes, or we're just losing touch with who we are.
You know, there's people in our government that are tasked with the job of social dynamics. Mm-hmm. You know, when the government figures out what its citizenry needs, it needs data on demographics. It needs data on belief systems. And oftentimes what a great tool is for population control, and this goes back, you know, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist because it's not about that.
Well, I think you're getting into, they're making men sterile. A lot through vaccinations, a lot through the food, and they don't want the population, you know, to increase. And a lot of men want either sterile or, you know, even, I don't even get into this. It's very deep, but
mind you, we've been very careful with the words. Well, let me just say real quick, and then keep going. ABC article came out. Straight up on ABC, it said, "Men, freeze your sperm because when you get the new shot or something, it could make you not sterile." I mean, it could make you sterile.
Yeah, there's actually a risk of that. So I'll address that real quick, and then I'll just finish what I was saying.
Well, let me ask you that. No, I'm kidding.
So about that factor with the shot, it's because the material that's going in your body is mutagenic, and mutagenic means that it has the capacity to mutate your genes, and that's its primary function. When you have something that is mutagenic, it tends to accumulate in your genitalia, the material, because that's the primary region of your genetic material is your genitalia.
Give him the example about the 6 months that we were talking about.
Yeah.
What we were also reading about one day is that this material from the pharmaceutical was actually staying in the men's scrotum for up to 6 months.
Yeah.
And so if you're, you know, putting something into your body that's staying inside of you, especially the important fertility part, for up to 6 months, and then especially in women, it can create an immune response with the formation of the placenta and all this kind of stuff. You're like, is that really the best thing for us, and do we really need it?
Right.
And it's interesting because there is definitely a correlation there between controlling animal populations.
Yeah.
So it's like we really are doing the same thing to each other.
Yeah. And, you know, what's weird is actually, I'm not going to make the claim on it because I don't know, but I've heard many people talk about, they're saying, oh yeah, we're at our carrying capacity for the earth. But there are many other people who say we're actually not. I mean, and by the way, if you go drive through the United States, you're like, we got a lot of room. And by the way, go watch a Vsauce video where he says, if we took every human alive, all 7 billion of us, and stacked us in a pile, we would just create kind of like a big pile within the Grand Canyon. Not taking up the Grand Canyon, not by any means. I mean, like, I think it's like about as tall as the Grand Canyon, but it maybe takes up like a square mile. No more than that, I don't think.
Hell yeah.
Whatever, it was so small.
Right.
And I was like, holy shit, that's not a lot.